the meeting. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Eastman?
Here.
Commissioner Ginger?
Here.
Commissioner Jurkovich? Commissioner Welch?
Here.
Mayor Warren?
Here. If you want to participate in the opening prayer and pledge allegiance, please stand. Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we are meeting today to conduct matters of business. Guide our hearts and minds in the spirit of fairness, right thought, and speech. Impart your supreme wisdom upon our activities so that our affairs may reach a successful conclusion. Thank you for being a source of guidance today. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Is there any additions or deletions to the agenda?
I have one addition, amendment number 2 to the agreement for the extension of city utilities. If we can add that underneath to new business, item number 3.
I so move.
I'll second that.
And we need to have a executive session for non-elected personnel for 20 minutes, so that'd be number 4 underneath, I guess, new business.
Under new business.
Yeah.
I so move we add item number 4 for an executive session.
I second it.
Any other discussion? Not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Guess we already approved the agenda, so I've got one thing to say before we go into the proclamation. Dan Jurkovich just announced that he's going to resign from City Commission, and I've got his letter. I'd like to read to the City Commissioners. It says, "Dear Honorable Mayor, please accept this letter as my official immediate resignation from the Commission. Serving as a Commissioner for the last 6 years has been an honor. I am grateful for the work that has been accomplished. Now that the hospital bonds are sold, it is time for me to focus solely on my obligations to my family, my profession, and my duties, and on the hospital board. Thank you to the citizens of our Kansas City for their opportunity to serve, and thank you to the city staff and my fellow commissioners for a great productive experience. God bless Ark City." Dan. He's going to be missed. He's a great city commissioner. But I understand where he's coming from, and it's been the last several years have been tough several years. So I wish him well, and I think that we have 30 days to find somebody to fill his position. We have to do that within 30 days, and we have a work session in 2 weeks, so I thought maybe everybody just think about what they want to do, and we'll talk about it in a work session and bring it up to a regular meeting, the last meeting of the month. So does anybody want to say anything? Or?
No, he accomplished a lot while he was here. He worked hard.
He led us well through the year he was mayor, and
And
like you said, he had a lot of tough decisions to make.
He was mayor for 16 months because of
That's true.
that transition we had to make from the spring to the fall. So, you know, he had a big duty. You know, and I can understand where he's coming from, but I'm going to miss him. Kenyon, you got anything to say? Okay, so I need to turn this in, I guess, so we'll have it. Okay, getting on awards and proclamations, we have a proclamation, Ark City Area Complete Count Committee proclamation. I think we have some people here for that. Yeah. Okay, yeah, just make that, yeah, right in here. It says, whereas the U.S. Census Bureau is required by the United States Constitution to conduct a count of the population, providing a historic opportunity to help to shape the foundation of our society and to play an active role in America. And whereas the census is vital to our community and that the ensures fair congressional representative by determining how many seats each state will have in the U.S. House of Representatives, as well as playing a role in the redistricting of the state legislature and county and city councils and voting districts. And whereas the census is also used to help determine where to locate schools, daycare centers, senior citizen centers, hospitals, health services, stores, restaurants, and other facilities, and is used to make decisions concerning business growth and jobs. And whereas an accurate census information is obviously critical to planning for the future development of the social needs of Arkansas City, and whereas decisions about billions of dollars in the state and federal funding for social and other programs are made in part based in the census data, and whereas citizen census information is confidential and federal law prohibits any other public or private agency for gaining access to this data. Now therefore I, Jay Warren, Mayor of the City of Arkansas City, do not here proclaim the City of Arkansas City to be a Census 2020 partner, and reaffirm that we are committed to ensuring each and every resident counted accurately. It is our privilege to partner with the U.S. Census Bureau and other partners in the Arkansas City area to complete count committee to achieve an accurate and complete account for the 2000 census. So.
Hi, my name is Caress Adams. I'm a partnership specialist with the 2020 census. I just want to thank Ark City and their complete count committee for joining up with us and being a partner and making sure that all the residents in Ark City get counted, and letting the citizens know and the residents know that the census is going to be safe, important, and easy this year. Thank you.
There's too many C's in that proclamation.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, number 3, recognition of visitors. I think Jim Seibert is up.
I'm not sure what recognizing a visitor means. I've been gone too long, I guess. I called Nick the other day and told him I had a couple, 3 items I wanted to bring up to the commission. None of them need action tonight, but all of them need to be discussed, or I feel like they need to be discussed. You look at them and decide what I'm gonna tell you is right or wrong. The first one, last week, one of the police officers came out to my office and told us that Wednesday they were going to do a complete stopping of any trucks that were running down Summit Street to try to encourage them to use the bypass. I called the chief, asked him what was going on, and he said, well, this is well within the city's ordinances, and they were planning on stopping trucks that used Summit Street. And I'm going to use the term argued. I don't think we argued, but we certainly discussed the fact that the ordinance that I worked on 10 or 15 years ago took into consideration there were certain needs of all truckers in the area to come to town to deliver goods, pick up goods, services, fuel, drink, not alcohol drink, any drinks, motel rooms, other activities around the truck needed to be done and serviced. He basically told me, well, that's not the way the ordinance reads, and we're going to enforce the code. He sent me a copy of the ordinance, which I've got, and I'm going to pass out to all of you along with some pictures of what I saw that day. And I don't have enough copies for everybody, but I'm going to try to get at least the commissioners a copy. I'll get that to hold still a minute. And we'll get it out. Let me let you share one if you would. Is there another deal? Let's see it.
Thank you.
Thought I had this in pretty good shape. The white paper is a copy of the code, truck traffic prohibited. I found it hard to read, hard to keep up with, hard to figure out what somebody was trying to say. The very first yellow outline is, commercial vehicle in excess of rate of capacity of 5 tons. Rate of capacity doesn't mean anything to speak of. A 5-ton vehicle is a 5-ton vehicle. Many pickups are rated much higher than that. Pickups in Kansas have to be tag rated to match both the pickup and any trailer that they pull. You will see livestock trailers behind farm vehicles with 24,000-pound tags. When they're running through town, they're a pickup that weighs 5,000 pounds. What are we trying to do? A 5,000-pound vehicle or a 10,000-pound vehicle is prohibited? I believe that rate of capacity should just be dropped. The same thing's true down in B when you read that line. A registered gross weight of more than 16,000 pounds. My half-ton pickup happens to carry a 16,000-pound tag on the back of it because I do pull trailers from time to time. It's a half-ton. That's the smallest pickup you can buy, short of a little Toyota or a Courier or something like that. So I think we need to stick with weights, not registrations, not rated capacities. The third line is manufacturer's rated capacity over 1.5 ton designation. I think I've got sports cars that will weigh more than 1.5 tons. I think it needs to be based on weight and weight only. When you get into some of the pictures, you'll see some of the signage, and I talked to the police chief about, rather than using our manpower and our vehicles to run up and down the street stopping trucks, we need to improve and increase the signage around town, telling the foreign truckers especially what they need or need not to do. Finally, one of the things he informed me of I couldn't believe was that local trucks had no rights to come into town. When I read this, the last yellow line you read says, the exceptions. The provision of this article shall not apply to any truck or other commercial vehicle while engaged in serving a residence or commercial establishment, nor to any such truck or commercial vehicle owned by any persons, firms, partnerships, or member of a partnership that has such vehicles stationed with residence or commercial establishment, period. It doesn't say in the state of Kansas, in Cali County, or in Ark City. It's my belief it's probably anybody that has a residence or business in Ark City. But by leaving out that line, I can't tell what it is, but I believe the intention, I know the intention because I worked on the committee 10 or 15 years ago to help draft some sort of an ordinance that would help guide the trucks through Ark City. Somehow we lost some of the language and some of the intent. The pictures I show you for several reasons. First one is my truck that I intentionally drove to town. That picture is taken across the street from the post office. I was actually stopped in front of Brahms coming to town and told the officer where I was going. He said, well, I don't think that's a service, and I'm gonna have to give you a warning that you can't come to Ark City. I think the postal service is a service, and I think I certainly had a right. It's not my normal carriage. I intentionally drove to some out of town, knowing that the sheriff or the police chief told me I'd probably be stopped. That truck clearly shows, and you can't see it as well in the picture as I hoped, all of my trucks show ACW Truck Line Inc., Ark City, Kansas. There's no clear names. The same name, same everything is on the back door of the trailer. So the officer obviously knew that I was a local truck. The second picture, and this one bothered me, this was the first picture that really bothered me. This is a truckload of lumber that happened to be turning a left there at Madison. The officer turned on his red lights right where you see him and pulled the truck over. He stopped right beside the building in the picture. The officer stopped right behind him, slightly further out, like they do, and got out of the truck. The first thing I saw him do that was absolutely wrong, he walked up to the truck and jumped up on the step and jumped up to the window to talk to the driver. No highway patrol, no DOT official, nobody jumps up on a truck like that. Those steps are 4 inches wide. A truck driver doesn't do that. We practice what we call the 3-point landing. 2 feet on the ground, 1 hand on a handrail. 2 hands on a handrail, 1 foot comes off the ground and gets on a step, and you crawl into a truck that way. That officer's head was 10 foot above the ground when he got on that top step. If he fell off backwards, The officer that did that to me in my truck used his elbow to catch himself over the window to hold himself. There is no, on the outside of a truck, there is no grab rail. If you go on back a little bit, I'm getting ahead of myself. The next picture shows, in this particular picture, that officer stumbled when he got up there. He almost fell off right in front of me when I saw him. That's down in front of Canback, half a block from the bypass. Why are we stopping a truck that was either gonna use the bypass or was leaving town? I don't know. It bothers me. I'm in the business. Here's the picture of him while he's falling. The next picture, I didn't realize I had it. There's a picture of the steps that are on this truck. That fuel tank is slicked at all times. It's had fuel spilled on it from time to time when we're filling it, gets wet, whatever. The steps are about 4 inches wide. The first thing you see on the left, the door, is a grab rail. That's the way we use to get in the truck. The other grab rail does not show up real well on the right side of the door, but that's the way to properly get in the truck. But you cannot do that from the outside. Our officers need to be better trained. They need to stop a truck in a location that is safe both to the truck and themselves. They never approach a truck driver by jumping up on the truck. Anybody I've ever had approach me has tapped on the bottom of the door. Either ask me to get out of the truck or ask me to sit there. Sometimes they'll ask you to open the door so they can see that you're not holding a weapon or anything like that. Never, never, never jump up on the side of the truck. Next picture is just more of the same. Getting to the signage. First sign I intentionally took a picture of is totally self-explanatory. 5 tons. This is taking the corner of 8th Street and Madison. The only thing wrong with this sign is if you're coming east into town from the west side, which you can't do now with the bridge closed, your GPS on a truck, and most truckers are using GPSs, tells you the easiest way to get to Creekstone is use 8th Street. And you'll see trucks going up 8th Street all the time, and that's why. They miss this sign because they're already turning left before they get to it. This sign is too close to the street. It needs to be probably 100 feet back where the driver would see it. I've seen them get to Chester, and the second, I think there's another one in there. Yes, it is. The second sign is the sign at Chester, just past Chester. And that's where you see a driver going, uh-oh, something's wrong. I'm not supposed to be here. This particular sign is common all over the United States. It does exactly what I'm telling you. It restricts the weight. The vehicle, it's self-explanatory, no trucks over 5 tons, period. I like to see those signs. Wherever you want to keep a truck off, that kind of a sign will do it. There's not very many semis that will get under 5 tons. We can do it with a bobtail on it. The sign out north of town, no through commercial truck traffic. Instead of by order of Arc City Commission, I'd like to see an ad. Please use bypass. Something like that. Anything self-explanatory to a foreign trucker will avoid the problems that they're having. The next one is exactly what I was saying to the chief. When we passed this ordinance, so supposedly, it said no semi-trucks except local service or deliveries. We expected truckers to come in and get services. We wanted them to come in and get services. Our fuel stations want them, the tire shops want them. My little truck line had a $16,000 tire bill last month in 3 different tire shops. That's a lot of money for a local tire shop. And we're a small truck line. These foreign trucks blow out a tire 15 miles from here, 50 miles from here. They want to get it fixed. They're $500–600 easy to get one fixed. This is money we can bring into the community if we allow services, but if we try to keep them out, we're hurting our own businesses and losing tax. The final picture is one of my favorite hate pictures. This sign was put up about 15 years ago to try to discourage truckers from going under the bypass. No other reason for it. That bypass is 14 foot 3 inches tall at the lowest possible point. I proved it 15 years ago by walking through that underpass with a 14.6 2x4, beating it on the ground in the bridge. I couldn't touch both at the same time. They put it up to discourage trucks from going under there, and then said, well, local truckers know if they can go ahead. I can't tell you how many times going home, and when my office was on Madison, I go under this underpass going home in the evening. I saw motorhomes backing up. I saw semis backing up, turning on C Street. north or south, going through residential areas, because a sign that's an out-and-out lie does no good to anybody. When they reopen the bridge and Madison is open, one of the best ways to get trucks out of town is get them to that bypass. Why put up a sign like that? Why lie to people? I think the ordinance is written, needs to be rewritten. Similar to what I'm saying, I'm not always right. Well, maybe. There's changes that need to be made for everybody's business, but the ones that I've pointed out are ones that are obvious. There may be some additions. Obviously, the service needs to be added to the ordinance if you want trucks to come to town. Enough said on the truck, unless there's any questions.
I had that discussion with the city manager several months ago when 3 motorhomes they were in a row about to go under, and they stopped and they were trying to figure out how to back up and turn around. And somebody came through and said, the bridge is 14 foot tall, you can go. And so they looked at him for a long time, and he said, I'm telling you, it's 14 foot tall, you can go. And
I had a trucker threaten to whip me. He was clear down at the underpass trying to back up. I pulled out around the 4 or 5 cars. They wouldn't let him back up. They were so close behind him, he couldn't back up. Pulled around, got out of my pickup, walked over to him, wearing an ACW coat. It was in the winter. I own a truck line. I'm just 6 blocks from here. We drive under this bridge every single day with 13.6 trailers. You've got a 13-foot reefer. I know that because I'm in the business. You can walk through there with ease. Are you sure? Yes, I'm sure. If you're lying, I tear up this trailer, I'll whip you all. Okay. I mean, it's ridiculous. And when they say, why would anybody do that? I don't want to explain that. I don't know why anybody did do that. I know at the time, the talk was trucks tear up streets. That is so much BS, I hate to hear it. The square inches of rubber a truck has on the highway divided by the 80,000 pounds we're allowed to carry is half what your car is. The only time a semi will tear up asphalt is when they're turning a tight corner. And those duals, the tandem duals being close together, have to twist. And they will twist and they will tear up some asphalt. So the answer to your question is semis tear up asphalt when they turn a tight corner. A tight corner to me is a right-hand corner. You have to turn out of the right lane into a right lane, that's a tight corner. The minute you make them on Madison, turn south to get to a bypass, a mile down the street, you're tearing up that corner. Let them go under the underpass and over the bypass, you don't hurt a thing. It's just a consideration, but I think it's an idea that's way past fixing.
Mr. Seibert, your comment is reference to your pictures, which were very good. Better signage, better training.
Yeah, and I don't want to hit that on the training too hard, except I don't think our local police officers have much experience with truck drivers. They really don't, and that's a good thing in one way. I'm glad they don't have much experience, because that means my guys haven't got stopped too much. But certainly, they need to at least know, don't do that. I saw the guy that jumped up on me, and I didn't know him, didn't say a word to him, because I knew it was obvious to me he didn't know what he was doing. Nobody would do that. There are drivers out there that would have intentionally slipped the foot off a clutch and jumped the truck 3 foot just to watch the guy tumble. They think that's funny. There's all kinds of sick people out there. You don't put yourself in harm's way, certainly as a police officer. That's just nonsense.
Okay, thank you.
Okay? Then I'm gonna go to one that's a lot closer to me because it's mine. 3 months ago, a little over, Commissioner Geiger and Nick Hernandez came down and talked to me about the possibility the city was looking into annexing some of my property. And kind of I don't want to put words in your mouth, what did I think about it, or what would I do, or whatever. And I basically said, hey, I've fought this horse for 20 years. I don't like it like anybody else. I don't see any advantage to it. But I've had a problem for 30 years, and I've tried to get the city to do something about it, and they won't. And if the city would do something about the drainage down here, I probably wouldn't say a word about being annexed. It makes a couple, $3,000 to me a year tax difference. At my age, that's not gonna kill me. Something else will, so I'm not gonna object too much. Nick was kind enough to bring some guys up from the city shops. I have the only fake drain in Ark City, Kansas. And I say that because 20 years ago, when Jim Miller was the street department man, I told him I had a drain out front that was stopped up. He said, no, you don't. That's not a drain. I said, Jim, it is a drain. It's about this wide and this high, and water drains in. He said, no, there's no sewer line there. They came up, dug it up, down about 3 feet, came over to me and said, there's no sewer line down there. Kind of thought that, but I didn't know for sure, so I didn't say anything. It's painted a bright yellow now, so it shows up. I've got the only fake yellow drain down there, and it's a bother to me. But what's a bigger bother, and I've only got 2 sets of these pictures, so I'm gonna start them over here on your side and just pass it down to everybody else. These pictures were taken May 21st. This was during a lot of the rain that we had. This water comes from up about 9th Street, down Madison Avenue, across my property, across, this is Skyline, the first picture you're looking at. Floods their yard, goes back behind them to the sign company's building, and that draw you see actually drains into this drain pipe that goes across the little road and over the drainage ditch down to the city shop, the back of the city shops. The water you see, those are porta pots, a little light brown, if you got those pictures yet, and the big pond of water. The fence is the city's fence. The city's fence is 5 feet inside the property line, but I had my property surveyed. City's fence sits 5 feet inside the city's property, so I don't come into contact with it, but the water, as you'll see in the next picture, I think, or no, the next one's the building itself. It backs up water about 4 foot deep in front of those trailers, so when a truck gets out, or a driver gets out of his truck, he's knee deep or better in water to unhook his trailer. It drains through the fence, the city's fence, or tries to. Most of that, and you can see the debris in the fence where the water's been that high. It's dammed up by the fence itself and the debris in it. It's the first dam that it comes into contact with, backing the water up across my property. Then I've got a picture of the water going down the city's property from that point, clear straight south, until you get to what is causing the problem. The city on their property has used the lower end of their property, this would be the south end inside the fence, to dump bricks that have come from the street. There's telephone poles, there is all kinds of debris that has come out of the street projects and been dumped down in this low-lying area. I thought that was the major problem, but as I got to looking, I went behind the fence, and the city has a regular, and those are some of the last pictures you see there. They have a huge pile of dirt, debris, telephone poles, and old cupboards that have completely blocked that water. This water originally went down to the 6th Street Pond. That was the area that it was going to. It's further been blocked by some work that was done by the metal company that was down there, and they hauled a bunch of the hospital concrete up there to solidify their ground. That's sandy soil, and they were trying to get it rock hard, and they actually built up their ground. Nick had told me that he was going to get a surveyor or somebody to look at the elevations, Nick, wasn't it? See what could be done about the drainage. I'm here 3 months later because I've seen nothing happen. The last 3 pictures of that packet are Saturday's rain. You can see it did almost the same thing. That's 1.25 inches rain by my gauge at 1105 West Madison that backed up water again in front of those trailers 2 foot deep, again down the ditch behind Skyline. It's causing me considerable financial problems. I have lost, the tenant that's in there, his lease is up in January. I'm not gonna tell you the exact amount, but it's about $40,000 a year rent they pay. I'm gonna lose them for a tenant because of the constant flooding and flood concern and problems. Those porta pots that you saw in the water were brand new. Nobody thinks too much about porta pots, but that's their business. They are the world's largest builder of porta pots. Claim to fame, I guess I don't have, but that's what they are, and they're very proud of their product. They weren't very proud of the fact that they got filled up with dirty water. They spent, I don't know, $4,000 or $5,000 cleaning them up. so they can sell them as new units. They don't wanna sell a porta pot to a porta pot company that looks like it's already been used, and I don't blame them. I'm gonna lose them for a tenant. The water damage that is happening has not hurt my building, it has not come in that building. That building is above the floodplain, the floor of that building is above the floodplain, but the ground is not. The access to the building is not. With proper drainage, which I've had until the last 4 or 5 years, I've never had this problem. I've owned that building 25 years. I've never had that problem with that building.
Longer than that.
Probably longer than that. I'm old enough, I don't remember. That's a good excuse nowadays. Like I said when I started, I'm not asking for action tonight. I'm asking you to think about it. But I'm asking for action on this thing as quick as possible. You're gonna cost me a customer that I really hate. I'm honestly trying to save him. I had a meeting this morning with him to see if there was something I could do, and we're talking about maybe paving that back parking lot, raising it up a little bit, adding a dock or two to get away from that lower end of the parking lot. Some additions that may cost me $40,000, $50,000, $60,000, but if I can save or get another 3 or 4 year lease, it's an investment I'm willing to make, but only if I see some action from the city to help me. I'm not asking for something for nothing. I was there before the fence was put up, I was there when the drainage was proper. Didn't know what was going on your side of the fence, I'll admit that. Didn't even know it when it started backing up. I couldn't believe that what was happening, but I need some help. Did you have a question?
No.
Okay, then I'm gonna do the last one, and this is one that's been kicked around, but I'm gonna kick it one more time. Cali County has been gerrymandered so much, we have no representation countywide in our Kansas City, Kansas. It's shown up time and time again. We have lost tag agencies, we've lost the ability to get a driver's license close to our city, we lose everything to Winfield, and that seems to be okay. We're about to lose a bridge because we do not have a Cali County representative who will stand up for our city and say, you know, this is something we need. We went to a county meeting, I've been to 2 county meetings and one other meeting on just the bridges, or the bridge in general. That was held the first meeting I went to, and got all kinds of rhetoric about, oh, we're looking into this, we're trying to work a deal with the government on this, we're trying to do that, don't worry about a thing. Now I'm seeing in the paper that, no, we're not gonna work with this group because they might have a cure for it. I personally went out yesterday. Brian Wells owns the ground on both sides of that bridge. He and I were talking about salvaging some gravel that got washed up during the flood. So I went out to look at it, and while there, I looked at the bridge. That's the last set of pictures I'm gonna have. And I don't know if any of you have walked that walk, but this is something everybody needs to see. We've seen bits and pieces, we've heard stories about the banks washing away 200 feet away. Sorry, Kate. What I saw was very little wash away around I'll just pass this around. The gravel that you see on the first picture, that is the work the county did after the first flood, and it is all basically still there. I gave my last copy away, and I still have it back so I can explain every picture. That shows the bridge and the gravel they put in. There's a little bit of wash. This is on the south side of the bridge, which is not next to the river. It actually is ground. Yeah, that side is where most of the damage is, and it's gonna take a dozer to clean out that ditch, shove it back where it belongs, and some of this rock's gonna have to be put in. The second big picture is the guardrail that was there. The county workers told me they shoved that rail back out of their way so they could put that gravel in. The river water was going the other way. That rail should have been on the road. And they said, well, it might have been. We shoved it out of the way. So every picture you see with that rail in it, it's been shoved back 6 or 8 feet. This first picture of the rail is almost 10 feet north of the parallel white line that you see. There's plenty of dirt. I was told by the welder, I'm sorry, I can't think of his name, Commissioner.
Alan Green.
Thank you. Commissioner Groom told me there was not enough room left to put in posts to protect, or put the guardrail up to protect the people. And he was all involved in safety. Well, I feel safety is a major issue, but I never saw anything about this road that was considered unsafe. When you get to the pictures of the trees that have flooded and washed up, and some of the other, that's on the south side of the road. And that shows you the debris that's gone through there. The damage to the road, I think the picture, one of the pictures shows the damage to the road itself. The hole you see right there, that's where, and Nick, I believe that's your water line, isn't it? Looks like a 6-inch water line there.
No, it's not. The water line's not exposed.
Okay, I don't know what it is. I
It's
thought,
a abandoned gas line, I believe is what it is.
abandoned line?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
abandoned line.
That's a hole that would take almost half a dump truck full of gravel just to fill that hole. And you can see where the county's gravel stopped, and it may have even gone down to the next asphalt. That's that AB3 gravel that packs in excellent. It's over here at Cedarville. It's real easy to use, spread out, pack in. There is no reason that I saw. Now, Brian told me, I said, Brian, 20 truckloads of gravel, I could fix this thing. He said, nah, I'd take 40. I'm gonna trust Brian probably better than me. I don't do that kind of work that much, but it probably would take 40 loads of gravel. 40 loads delivered over here to Arc City for $200 a load is about $8,000–10,000 of gravel. I think there's a few $1,000s worth of guardrails that need to be put up. I understand we're getting ready to repave Summit Street here in the next month or 2 or 3.
That'll be the first part of next year.
Damn it. Regardless, my thinking is we could go out there and fix that bridge, the approach, the guardrails, making it safe for everybody. I saw the picture in the paper of the rusty beam, and I'm not denying that. I did not go look for that. Different than the city manager or county manager who said he was not an engineer, and then suddenly he was trying to identify the defects of the bridge. That bridge probably is past a truck ever running over it, as I think it should be. But for cars, I don't believe there's a way in the world. The commissioners at the last meeting we were at, Nick, you were at that meeting, they were gonna have a professional company come in and tell us about the bridge. But I see them canceling contracts. I haven't heard another word. That was supposed to happen the 28th of last month. I think it's time for the city to step up too. I know Nick at the meeting said he knew it was gonna cost the city a couple $100,000 if they had to relay the water lines under there. Once again, I think the county's gonna use that, oh, we can get a couple $100,000 out of the city and not have to spend as much money. I hate to see that game started, but I think that's the road we're heading down. The county showed their colors. They're not gonna spend any money in our city if they can help it. The city, and I believe this to be true, I was told it's true, 30% of the residential income out of property taxes comes from the east side of the river. My taxes are almost $1,000 a year higher because I'm inside the city limits on my house. I live just 2 blocks above this bridge. I think the city needs to put some more money back in our area. We were promised when, I've lived in my house 44 years, and I was the city limits when I first moved in it. I got to be the city limits right off the bat. Annex 3 or 4 times after that until we created a whole new city to stop the annexing. We were promised road improvements, we were promised water line improvements, and there's been some done, don't get me wrong. But we were also promised when the Richardson house burned down, and it burned to the ground because the fire department did not have enough water, could not get enough fire trucks out there to put it out, that we'd get a standpipe. Nick, help me, is that what you call it?
Yeah.
Something like a standpipe put out there on up close to Country Club Road and the highest point out there, I guess I'm saying, which would alleviate that problem. It's never happened. We get all kinds of suggestions of what would improve our community, our part of the community, in lieu of or for some of the taxes that we paid, and I think it's fair trade. But this bridge is going to be my real Donnybrook. I want to see this bridge saved. I want to see it used. There's over 2,000 people, according to the same chief of police that I argued with about this ordinance, said there's 2,000 people a day use that bridge. That's too many people to just walk away from, turn your back on and say, we're not gonna spend $50,000 or $100,000 repairing the bridge. I don't wanna put it back to a brand new bridge, but we spent $250,000 in Crestwood on a bridge that serves maybe 100 cars a day. And it's one of the.
But we had, Tim, we had a grant that we applied for.
I'm not.
And I'm saying that the county, we cannot apply for anything on that bridge. The county owns that bridge. So that's the problem right now. If they're not gonna apply for anything, there's nothing we can do about it.
And Jay, that's where I wanna change your mind a little bit. Maybe there is something we can do about it.
Well, we got a
Maybe there's
meeting
some-
Tuesday. That's what, we need to take
Okay.
that up there at that
And
meeting.
that's what I wanna do
Yeah.
tonight. I wanna stir something up.
I understand.
I wanna stir you up just like I already have.
I'm already stirred up about it.
Okay, that's fine. What I'm trying to say is the people of Ark City, the people of the eastern part of Ark City, wanna see this bridge saved. We'll get even with the commissioners quick enough.
Yeah, but I wanna,
That's not,
I wanna say something. It goes back to your dad when he was a judge back there, and he got sideways with one of the commissioners, and he changed that gerrymandering district the way it is right now.
oh, that was, Jay, that's back in the sixties.
I know, but I'm just saying, that's, we
Yes.
still have that.
No, and it'll always continue because it's controlled. There's always been
I know, I
two
know,
commissioners from Winfield.
I know,
Ark City's split in three pieces.
I know.
You'll never control,
It
should
needs to be changed.
Getting away from my dad, it should have been one commissioner for Ark City, one commissioner for Winfield,
Yeah.
and one commissioner at large. That makes too much sense.
Yeah.
So getting away from that, that's the law, that's where we're at.
Okay.
We're not gonna change it. But I think we can change the minds of some of those commissioners with cooperation. Nick was able to work out some deals. It cost us money every time.
Well, we're planning on
but we
being
put
at
the
that meeting
hospital
up
out
there. We're planning on being at the meeting, so we're just gonna find out what they're planning on
And
doing.
do you want the public, do you want me to get people? I intentionally came up here with nobody. I didn't want a group here trying to threaten anybody. I wanted to come up and say, what do you guys want? But believe me, I can have 50 or 100 people up there tomorrow at the meeting, if you need them.
Well, it's not tomorrow, it's next week, I think, whenever it is.
I'm gonna be out of town, so I won't be one of them, but I guarantee you.
No, that's fine. The
There's
board,
100 people that are very interested in this
Yeah.
thing within a mile of that bridge.
well, I think get as many as you want up there, you know,
And when is the meeting?
we need support.
When is the meeting?
Next Tuesday, isn't it, Dick?
I think it is.
I think it's a week from
What
tonight.
time?
I don't know.
6 is when they meet.
Well, we've got the media here. I'm trying to get it to the public faster than I can get it, because I am leaving town for a
Yeah,
vacation.
it's at 6 o'clock
Sir.
next Tuesday.
6 o'clock Tuesday at the county commission meeting.
Yeah.
And our city commissioners, one or two of you are gonna be there, I
Yeah.
take it, with Nick?
Yeah.
And
I'll
I
try
will-
to be there.
Well, we may all be there. I don't know. If we do, we have to advertise it, because we can't all be, you know.
What if that's in-
Well, I will advertise the fact that I'm going on
Okay.
vacation, haven't had it for 10 years, and I'll be out of town, but my heart will be with you.
All right.
Mine will be with you. And any pictures you wanna go with you.
Getting back to your other deals, I think, don't you think, Nick, we ought to have a work session on just the ordinance of the truck ordinance? I mean, it's been some time, you know, or just at least review it. What do you,
Well, I think Chief's ready to talk about it at any point. You know, he's the one that's been looking at and enforcing it, but I think he'd be more than happy to go over it in that work session, wouldn't you, Chief? Absolutely.
okay, let's just plan on the next work session. We'll just kinda go over it and take a look at it.
When would that one be?
Well,
It'll be the Friday before, let me look,
I'd like to be there.
16th, is it? No, it's not the 16th, it would be the 16th.
Yeah.
Yeah, August 16th, at noon.
I won't be back.
You won't be there?
No, I won't be back. We're leaving Saturday.
Well, we can put it.
No, don't put it off of me.
Okay.
I've made my opinion known, put it in writing here in front of you. You got the pictures, the chief and I have somewhat argued, and I'd like to call it a friendly argument, because I don't think we ever raised our voices to each other. He saw things a little differently. After I saw the ordinance, I saw what he was saying. This ordinance does not say what we intended for 10, 15 years ago. And that would be the only interpretation I want to see changed at this meeting.
One thing I do want to point out to the commission, you talked about signage, we've been trying to get KDOT to do a signage package to try to at least get them to reroute. If you ever go out to like Dodge City in western Kansas, they actually have trucks must follow, you know, the big signs flashing. We just want something similar to that to explain to people that if you're not doing a local delivery, whatever it may be, you don't need to be going on some street, take the bypass, but it's so
And Nick, I
difficult.
think, honestly, the bypass at the north end, and I watch it quite a bit because I'm looking around at my office door, those trucks turn there. That sign.
Much more
Two
than they-
signs get your attention, they come south. The ones you're having trouble with, if they miss that bypass for any reason,
Yeah.
or don't know for sure where they're going in town, once they get in town, they've got no choice. If they get on the radios, the drivers all tell them, don't go under the underpass, it's 12.6, so they're not gonna turn there. Don't go under the next street, cause it's 11 foot. Don't go under, so you're just gonna run right through town. I do think, and I talked to Chief about it, signage down there, he told me it'd take $40,000-$50,000.
That's what KDOT was telling us.
Well, I guess a simple sign to me, I don't need somebody to hit me over the head. A sign that says, no through traffic to trucks. Anybody going through town must use bypass and an arrow right there. They're already stopped at a stoplight 90% of the time. They see that big bypass, I think they take the right. You're always gonna get, one of the biggest problems we've got now is modern technology. These companies use GPSs. Many of them their own company GPS. Some of them I run into will not allow a truck to get 2 miles out of line with the GPS. They'll shut the truck down thinking it's stolen. So if they don't GPS them on the bypass, they won't use it.
Well, and they have truck route GPS too with the trucking software.
Well, they've got everything if you've got enough apps.
Yeah.
But the guy
Yeah.
uses one. Nick, no, half the drivers I see at the warehouse are foreigners. Some of them don't even speak English. I've had them hand me their cell phone. They'll talk into their cell phone, hand it to me, and it'll speak English to me. And I can speak English to it and take it back, and they'll hear their language. I mean, they got some great technology that I'm not, but it doesn't answer all the questions. And when you get to Ark City, Kansas, some of these GPS maybe don't see it, but I do think a sign at the south end. I think opening up Madison to go under the underpass, I see no reason not to do that. Will help you tremendously when you open the bridge, because those trucks, once they hit that bypass, none of us in a truck wanna run uptown. The cars backing out of parking places, the stoplights, everything else, there's no reason to run uptown unless you've got a reason to be there.
My biggest concern and worry about Madison underpass is not necessarily the height of the bypass. We've had trucks hit it before, it happens. But my biggest concern is gonna be the bypass and that four-way stop there. Because right now, with Chestnut being closed down, the traffic on Madison's 2 or 3 times heavier than it ever was. And if we're putting truck traffic, trying to turn that and merge that going south and north off of Madison, we're gonna have a much bigger issue with
I think it'll
potential
surprise you. I
trucks.
came to town at 6 o'clock this morning, 8 cattle trucks pulled out of Total Petroleum, came right out on the bypass, went right across the road. I'm sitting there going, where in the hell are they going? John Bossy was right behind me, and I saw him, and I said, or Frank Bossy, and I said, where were all these trucks going? He ain't the farm. He said, I gotta ship 600 head of cattle over there. I said, really? Out on that
And
street?
I know there's gonna be times that it's gonna be
Yeah.
fine with it, but the problem is, it only takes one fatality accident, to really cause us a big concern.
And that was one of the chief's concerns about Summit Street, is the number of accidents from Kansas Avenue to Radio Lane, and I understand that. Saw a bad one yesterday, and that's one of my driver's wives that was in there. It was 2 cars. I don't believe I've ever seen a semi-involved accident on Summit Street.
And I couldn't tell
I
you.
just
Chief
don't.
could, I could not.
Well, Chief and I talked about it a little bit.
Yeah.
Of course, they don't keep records by what size of truck. It's trucks, so a pickup considers, at least the state level, I think you're that way too, aren't you? On your records, your truck is a truck. It can be a pickup, it can be a 2-ton truck, or it can be
There's
a
special forms per semi.
I'm sorry?
There's special forms per semi.
Okay, so you may have some records, but I've never seen one. Lived here more years than most of you.
Okay, Jim, we got more stuff. to do.
Okay, I'd like to ask you a question first. Jim,
Yes, I'm listening.
did you say that that business was actually leaving, or that you could save it if the,
No,
Water
I
was-
said they gave me notice that they were not renewing, their lease is up in January.
okay,
They gave me notice they were not renewing their lease. If I could find them a building in Cali County, they'd like to stay in Cali County. They do an awful lot of business with Western Industries in Strobel Field and a couple other companies in Wichita, or in Winfield and Fastenal, and anyway, they've got I don't know what.
and was the water problem the big reason that they were not
Yes,
renewed?
They had
That
over-
was their reason?
They had over 400 porta potties out there getting
Okay,
flooded, so to speak.
all right.
That was one of the reasons. No, there's 2 or 3 others. They want an extra dock door.
Well,
they wanted
that's
some
nothing
paint.
we can handle, so,
No, it's all on me. I'm not gonna spend the money if I'm not gonna get some flood protection. I mean, not protection, relief. I wanna get if the drainage is resolved, and I've got a building we're saving, I'm gonna spend some money on it for this customer.
Okay,
If they leave town, they will not leave Arc City, they'll leave the county, because there is no building that size around available. I've looked all over.
well, we've got equipment to clean the drainage out, I believe.
Yeah,
I mean, don't we, Nick? I mean, that'd be a simple solution to open the drainage up, the
Problem is,
pit.
when we had the big floods, there's been so much work that's been done between the city grounds and it used to drain into Vets Lake,
This,
where it used to. There's been so much work done over the years. We don't know how much dirt work would be needed. And we'll have to check with the state too, being a Superfund site, how much can we actually dig in through there? And
Well-
then we'll have to visit, if we have to get closer to the levee to stay on the Superfund site, then we'll have to get the Corps of Engineers and get their approval. So it's a lot more difficult than just going in there and cutting a trench, because we do know that, and Jim knows very well, we can't even hardly touch the soil at the Superfund site without.
yeah, 18 inches.
Yeah, I mean,
But 18 inches would be a
But-
lot of relief for me.
but
Yeah.
if some of the debris that's stacked in the area of the drainage,
yeah.
we can
They-
probably
they-
move that.
Yeah, they clean up a lot of it. Some of the bricks he's talking about, gosh, they've probably been there 30 years. And
Yeah,
some of those,
it's not all
So-
brand
but-
new.
it's not.
We don't always get 16 inches of rain either in May, so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, there's a lot of, and I'm not blaming anybody, I'm just
Yeah.
saying, I got to have some action now.
Well,
We've
that's,
talked 2 or 3 months, I haven't seen anything done, doesn't mean Nick hasn't done something or somebody else hasn't done something, I'm just saying, I'm not seeing it. I was down there Saturday intentionally, after 1.25 inch rain, I'm seeing the same flooding, drove into the city lot, the gate was open.
Okay.
Saw the same flooding going back,
Oh.
not as deep.
Yeah, that's my question was actually if it was that, what I asked you. Okay, thank you.
It's directly coordinated to the amount of water we get. You get a 4-inch rain, you're gonna have 4 feet of water. You get an inch rain, you get a foot of water. So it's a direct correlation, but it has nothing to do with the flooding. There was no flood water in that water that showed you.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Okay, on number 4, comments from the audience, items not on agenda. Has anybody got anything to say that's not on agenda? Okay, if not, then we need to vote on the consent agenda.
I so move that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Okay, been second. And what the consent agenda is, approve the July 16, 2019 regular meeting and 2019 special meeting as written. And then number 2, approve a resolution adopting the 2019 Kansas Homeland Security Region H Hazard Mitigation Plan. And Nick, you might just explain that just right quick, like.
well, that's the county's hazard mitigation plan. It's a 592-page document that really talks about how to prevent potential hazards throughout the entire
Okay,
county.
okay.
Some of the items that we have on there is some of our pumps, also our wells west of town, you know, to mitigate potential disaster, try to get them out of the floodway as well. So there's a few items on there that pertain to the city, but
Okay,
it's really to try to prevent disaster.
okay, and we got a motion and second. Any other discussion on it? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Old business.
And 1, hold a public hearing to receive public comment regarding the proposed 2020 budget.
Good evening, Commission. Thanks for your time. I first want to take the opportunity to thank our treasurer, Jennifer Wagner, with everything with the bond issue this year. She really put in a lot of effort. There's a lot of work that goes in that you don't see with these several pages of the state budget forms. That being said, tonight we need to hold a public hearing to hear public input from the residents regarding the budget. The notice of hearing was published and it's been 10 days, and what was published is the maximum amount that can be approved. After the hearing, you'll have the option of either approving it tonight or at the latest at the next regular meeting.
Okay, well, I guess
Does anybody have any public comments on it?
Open public hearing.
yeah, I'll go ahead and open the public hearing. Is there any comments from the public about the budget for 2008, 2020?
Nope.
Okay, if not, I close the public hearing. I'd like to add to, on this particular one, we talked about on a work session last Friday about maybe paying the commission, go back to, monthly payments. I'd like to hold off on that till after the first year, till we get a new commission back in and let them decide that again. That'd be the only change I'd like to see on the thing. It doesn't amount that much money, but it's whatever the commission wants to
Yeah,
do.
I'll second that.
Okay. So
The
what,
reason we brought it up too is if you do it before election, then if it does upset the public, then you will have the opportunity for 3 of the 5 commissioners to potentially be voted out if it was something that you don't agree with, if it does become an election issue. If you wait till after the first year, then you're basically letting the next commission dictate whether or not they get paid or not.
well,
That was the only reason I wanted to do it before the elections,
Yeah.
but it does not matter.
okay.
I wanted to let everyone.
Well, I think it'd be a nice discussion of whoever gets elected, in this deal there, we discuss it and stuff, and,
I agree.
not that big a deal.
It's not.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we consider the ordinance adopting the 2020 budget for the city of Arkansas City.
I second it.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion on that? If not, it's a roll call vote.
Commissioner Eastman?
Yes.
Commissioner Davis?
Yes.
Commissioner Welch?
Yes.
Mayor Ward?
Yes. Motion carries. Number 2 number 1 under new business.
Number 1, Compass Point Addition change orders. There's an A and B. First one is consider a resolution authorizing the city to enter into a change order agreement number 1 with Mies Construction of Wichita regarding the Compass Point Addition sanitary sewer system for an amount not to exceed $11,460.
The reason for this change order is that they installed the water line, and there's a clearance required between the water line and the sewer line, so they had to lower the sewer 12 inches.
Huh.
Well, the reason for that was there was the offsite sewer, we tried to get that done immediately. And so the final layout for the street wasn't completed, and there was some conflicts on the internal streets versus those, the offsite sewer and onsite, so we actually had to lower it a foot to accommodate for those discrepancies in the onsite street plan.
Let's see.
I
Well,
move
it's-
that we authorize the city of Arkansas City to enter into the change order agreement number 1 with Mies Construction of Wichita regarding the Compass Point Addition sanitary sewer system for an amount not to exceed $11,460.
I'll second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion on it?
I believe Mr. Coon would like to speak.
Yeah, sure.
There's a possibility this might be a moot point as far as the cost of it, but I do know extending these manholes for $500 a piece, had it been done ahead of time, wouldn't cost more than $100 a piece for a 1-foot manhole extension when you're pouring manholes. The problem at hand is that these streets were not engineered ahead of time, so the horse got in front of the court, and the cost to us wasn't necessary. Now, there might have been some cost because the sewer was different, the profile was different, but some of the costs were absolutely not necessary. Or this could have been done with a drop manhole, and a lot of the extremely deep sewer really wasn't necessary. But because the streets weren't done ahead of time, the engineering followed up, had to be corrected after the fact. Now, because of code conflict where proximity of water and sewer, that's an engineering issue that everybody knows, and this is, you know, this is an engineering mistake. And I'm incensed that the city has to pick up the tab for bad engineering.
The developer made the selection for the engineer, and the developer is responsible for all the costs associated with the development.
But we're paying it.
We get reimbursed through special assessments.
But special assessment is a taxpayer-funded special assessment. There's eventually a taxpayer pays the amount, whether it's through property tax or special assessment tax, is that correct?
The owner of the new property will pay for
But
the,
their property tax reflects the assessment, doesn't it?
yes, it does.
So
The
they
new
are
owners
paying.
would, yes,
So they are paying for it, and the
Yeah.
property owners will be paying for this inadvertently.
right.
Okay, now, back to what I was saying, this is poor engineering. Now, some of these costs may have come up anyway because of the sewer profiles to match the street, but it could have been shallowed by they could use what's called a drop manhole and made this a lot less deep than what it is now. So we're looking at 15, 20-foot sewer, it could have been a 6 and 8-foot sewer easily. And so I'm incensed that these engineering mistakes have to fall on taxpayers to pay. I know it's kind of a moot point, they've already done it, but it's a little bit after the fact, everything's already installed. I don't know how long it's been known that these mistakes existed, but I do know that Smith & Oaks went to bat for the city, and they greatly reduced this amount. This was substantially higher before Smith & Oaks reviewed it, and said you can't guide the state like this. And some of these, to me, are excessive. I mean, in that business, we've installed miles of this stuff, and I just feel that, you know, in my world, in the commercial industrial world, an engineering mistake is divided among all the participants, not turned over to the owner. The owner is not gonna pay a change order based on mistakes. They'll pay a change order based on their required changes, but something that was a mistake through the general contractor, the subcontractor, or the engineer, the owner's not gonna pay for it. But it seems to be in this work, it doesn't quite work that way. So, not saying don't pay them, I'm saying there has to be a standard of engineering set forth. It's not our fault that they didn't design, that they designed the streets after they already designed the water and sewer profiles. And so I'm just incensed that we're paying for it. Not that Mies doesn't do a good job, and I don't blame him for wanting the money, but there's so many things that could have been avoided and saved money if it were properly engineered. Thank you.
Thanks,
sir.
Al. You foresee anything else on this Compass Point, Nick? I mean,
I think this is pretty much it. There might be some minor ones on the street, but I haven't been communicated by Chris Mine and Smith Noakes in regards to anything.
okay, we got them up.
This one, we did not select the engineer. The engineering company was selected by the developer and the home builder. So that was actually early on the process because they were the ones that did all the preliminary design work for the moderate income housing grant. So they had already done some initial engineering associated with the project, and they were so far along in the engineering, when it came time to do it, it didn't make sense to change
Okay,
and basically pay another engineer to do it over.
But what he's saying is correct, which is we'll pay it and then we'll get it back on the special assessment by the people who buy those properties.
That's correct.
So the engineering company doesn't bear any responsibility, nor the developer.
That's correct. Unless we do the agreement where the developer pays the special assessments, which you can do as well.
But
So the developer pays it?
Good.
He passed it
Based
on
upon our
anyway.
agreement, he will eventually pass it
Yeah.
on, yeah. One of the things that we were able to keep the cost down with the grant though, because there's a $400,000 savings by receiving this grant, for the modern income housing project.
so is that gonna be passed on though?
It'll be $400,000 comes directly to the city, and we take it off the $400,000 for the street portion. So once we get that $400,000, we'll reimburse through the state, and it'll be taken off all those properties at that point.
Okay.
well, getting back to this, in other words, if we don't pass this tonight, then that stops their work for the time being?
No, it's already done. This work's already been completed.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what's the point of bringing it to the commission if it's already done and there's nothing we can do about it?
Still have to get approval, so we can add it to the special assessments. I mean, they could probably go in and try to remove it, if we don't approve it.
No, that's ridiculous,
know
but
it's
I'm saying,
ridiculous.
yeah.
I know.
So they did it, there's nothing we can do.
Yeah.
Okay.
I do know Chris negotiated on her behalf and tried to get the cost, because there, I think initially it was significantly higher on both of them. So
Okay,
he did look out for us.
okay. We got a motion and a second. Any other discussion on it?
It
Nope.
is an engineering mistake, though, it is an error on the engineers. Not because anything the city did wrong. 100% engineering error, mistake, error.
Okay, no other discussion. It's a voice vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thanks, Mel, for bringing it up to us.
I'm not saying you shouldn't pass, but it should be enforced.
Yeah, I know. Okay.
Some kind of plan review, if these guys are not confident enough to be doing something, they shouldn't be doing it. There has to be some liability besides with the taxpayer.
Okay. Number 2B.
One B.
Number 1B.
I'm sorry.
Consider a resolution authorizing the city to enter into change order agreement number 2 with Mies Construction of Wichita regarding Compass Point Addition water main, in an amount not to exceed $8,550.
This was another error caused by the developer's designer, K.E. Miller. They called for connecting to an 8-inch water line when in fact it's a 12-inch water line. And I believe according to Smith and Oaks, it wouldn't change the overall price of the contract if they had stated a 12-inch. This change order is connecting to a 12-inch.
And again, same situation,
Same situation.
it's an error and it's already done.
And one thing we actually did add a extra valve in there to give us more control with the flow in that area, so that was an add-on that we added after the fact, and that, Smith and Oaks, helped us with, just to make sure we got.
And it was a good idea. 12-inch added valve.
Yeah, this is a 12-inch valve at the existing main and Skyline Road to allow for better isolation of the water distribution system within the addition. So if there's any major water problems, we can turn the water off.
But this is still within the contract that they made, right? Who you say that? What did you say?
This is an increase.
This one is?
Yeah, because we
Added the valve?
and then there's 8-inch versus 12-inch cost, unit cost.
Okay.
So everything associated with going from 8-inch work to 12-inch work.
Oh, okay.
Well, I'll make a motion on the resolution authorizing the city of Arkansas City to enter into a change order agreement number 2 with Mies Construction, Wichita, Kansas, regarding Campus Point Addition water main for an amount not to exceed $8,550.
I second.
Okay, it's been moved and second. Any other discussion on it? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Number 2.
Consider first reading of an ordinance modifying municipal code part 2, chapters 2, 18, 26, 42, 46, 54, and 62 concerning city boards and city departments, as well as chapter 14, amending the 2015 International Residential Code and references to the Neighborhood Services Division, and modifying municipal code of Sudbury Friends.
We're in the process of updating based on our study session on Friday, so we'll get those changes made. Mike Bells is here to discuss that one item that the commissioners had questions on the decking. If you have if you want them to answer it this evening, otherwise we can go, but.
I think I brought that up.
The reason for the decking, requirements on it, we had a trades board, us, Winfield, Wellington, we all got together back about 3 years ago. And, in the IRC, there's not really no definition of what solid sheeting is. And we came up to the conclusion that's 4x8, OSB, or plywood. But we never did put that in the municipal code. And I would like to have it in there to where that, it's in the code to where that, we can have that as a definition for it.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
I would recommend just table it until we get those items completed.
I agree.
Okay.
I think we can have it ready by next meeting, I believe. Should be able to.
Okay.
Well, I make a motion, we table, number 2 for our next meeting.
Second.
Any other discussion? Not all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Number 3,
Consider approval of amendment number 2 to the agreement for extension of city utilities.
This is the item we talked about in regards to, the special assessments. It's just clarification of who's responsible for what special assessments with the hospital. This is the agreement we came forward with. Both, the hospital and the city are both comfortable with the language, so I just move that we approve it.
I so move that we approve amendment number 2 to the agreement for extension of city utilities between the City of Arkansas City and South Central Kansas Medical Center.
Second.
okay, it's been moved and second. Has everybody had a chance to look at it?
I did.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other discussion on it? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Number 4, we need to go into executive session, discuss non-elected personnel under new business, item 4 for 20 minutes.
Will there be any business conducted afterwards?
What happened?
You have city manager updates. Do we want to do that when we come back?
I can do that now, too. if
Okay.
you'd like.
Yeah.
Valley College Education Center is having their grand opening, Thursday, August 8th from 3 to 5, which is just located over here next to the Central Christian Church. Lieutenant Governor Lynn Rogers is scheduled to visit Dark City on Monday, August 12th. He'll, be speaking at the Rotary Club at noon at the Right Room. Next Rise Cali County Coalition meetings, 10 a.m. Tuesday, August 13th. And I believe it's gonna be in Winfield. Next monthly Cali County Legislative Committee meeting is gonna be noon Tuesday, August 13th here at the Ark City Chamber of Commerce. Next Cali County Commission meeting is 6 p.m. Tuesday, August 13th. We already talked about that. And the East Chestnut Bridge will be discussed. August 15th is City Hall Selfie Day. We're gonna take some pictures around town. If you wanna get your picture taken on the 15th, stop by City Hall. The next study session is noon Friday, August 16th. I'm gonna be in my office. That's all I have.
Okay.
Okay, do your motion.
Do I?
Did we second it?
Yeah, nobody seconded it yet.
Oh, I'll second it.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Return when?
20 minutes would be,
2.
Just do 7:05.
Yeah,
7:05.
7:05. That's close enough.
no. We want to go back to executive session for another 10 minutes.
I second it.
Oh, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. There's a knife in there.
Here's another. We make an adjournment or?
Yep.
Yeah, sure. Does anybody else got anything for the cause? I make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.